Well, thank you for the opportunity to share some of the developments around these issues in Mozambique. I would put in a simple terms that we are in a critical moment where the social contract has a lot of countries and other African countries has been shaken, it's been worsening, and it's about to be broken. I'm saying that because we are seeing increasingly the state failing to deliver. The realization of economic and social rights of Mozambican people as time goes by, getting more and more not delivered on. So I would put it in that way. And looking at the root causes of this failure to deliver the realization of these basic economic and social rights for Mozambican people, you will see that you have a state with a limited fiscal space. We are talking about restricted domestic resource mobilization in a context where you have also this same state with higher levels of debt and facing multiple challenges, what some of you might call as a polycrisis. They are facing multiple crises. You see the prolonged effects of the pandemic, you will see the climate change, you will see the violent extremism in the north that is draining resources from the state. So we have all of this, and you have the state with no margins, no fiscal margins to finance these rights for people. So people are starting to complain. We have now about 60% of our population below the poverty line. And on the other side, you have social expenditure from government reducing through time. So who is going to take care of those 60% people that don't have the minimum, what's considered to be the minimum? So we can talk about numbers, but the point is that this more than 90% of debt compared to our GDP is suffocating the state, and it's not delivering. So looking at the situation of debt in Mozambique, you will see that we have like a before and after major scandal, which is known by hardened debt scandal. When we had that scandal, a 2 billion scandal involving corrupt politicians from the elite, what happened is that the cooperation partners cut the support. We've been struggling. We've struggled for so long, for about 5 years, trying to manage because we depended a lot on that money and we didn't have it. So we struggled to meet the basic for the citizens, but then we find some way of dealing with it. And then we had these reforms. We had the cooperation partners coming again, but with a lot of conditionalities. You know, the IMF resumed support, but when they resume support, they come with a list of reforms, this size for the government to implement. They are failing because the administrative cost of implementing such reforms in a short time is difficult for a country, so they are struggling. So it's the old textbook when you have a state that can't mobilize resources internally. So they need to get money from partners and submit to this system of neocolonialism that you guys must have always talking about. So this is the situation in general. So what is the solution that we are seeing, the way forward? And what are we working on? Is that we have a situation here where the only alternative, the only solution is actually fair and equitable domestic resource mobilization. We have resources. Mozambique is resource rich. We have gas, we have minerals. How do we capitalize those resources to actually put them into servicing the development agenda of the country? So what should be the priority now is curbing those leakages. Talking about IFFs, we're talking about these wasteful incentives that are given to multinationals. We're talking about these restrictive double taxation agreements. We're talking about investing in institutional capacity to address aggressive tax planning by companies. So these are all the solutions that are on the table that must be addressed. We consider them urgent in terms of looking at the situation now and how things have been worsening over time. It's critical for Mozambique to advance with these reforms. There's been some movement. We are in that movement to curb these leakages, and we're seeing some responsiveness from the government to address these different challenges, which is good. Just to say that the efforts that are being done at the national and regional level are indeed contributing to to break the status quo. And when you see these movements, you talk about 10 years since we launched the Mbeki report, and you ask what have we gained during this time. I say let's celebrate the quick wins that we have achieved. This is a fight. As you remember, the liberation struggle was not also a thing that this is another liberation struggle that we are facing. So let's celebrate the quick wins whilst looking at that longer term situation where we have ended all this unfairness that is in the system. Thank you.